Hey guys, I'm Law, and welcome back to another video. This is What If Tatsumi Was Archer's Reincarnation, Part 4. Hope you enjoy. We last left off at where Tatsumi and Bullock were about to fight Esdet's subordinates, and here's the continuation of that. Both Tatsumi and Bullock were charged towards them, but Tatsumi attacking the boy with his swords, leaving cuts and injuries on the boy, while the yellow-haired boy was on the defensive, blocking and barely dodging Tatsumi's attacks, as Tatsumi was so fast for the boy to hit that even when he tried to attack Tatsumi, Tatsumi would always use the small openings he left to attack him, but considering the boy's muscles were pretty hard, Tatsumi wasn't able to unleash as much damage as he wanted to, but the cuts were still pretty deep. Boy then tried a different strategy by using both his fists to hit the floor so hard and to create a shockwave heading towards Tatsumi, breaking the floor so that Tatsumi would lose his footing. Tatsumi jumped back to prevent him from falling, to which the boy used to his advantage, as when Tatsumi was in the air, the boy jumped towards Tatsumi at full speed trying to punch Tatsumi, but Tatsumi blocked his fist with his sword, but the impact sent him flying against the edge of the deck. Tatsumi shook this off and saw the boy charge towards him again, and dodged before the boy's fist could make contact with his face. Tatsumi was a little impressed and annoyed as not a lot of people were able to catch him off guard like that. Tatsumi then threw both Kansho and Bakia, this time with more force and at high speeds, to which the boy blocked with both his arms, as he didn't have enough time to dodge. The swords were thrown with so much force than before when Tatsumi was fighting the boy earlier, that they cut through the boy's arms from his elbow, leaving the boy's arms just dangling from flesh and muscle, to which led to the boy screaming in pain and agony. Tatsumi used this opportunity to finish the fight by charging towards the boy with another one of projected swords, slicing the boy's head clean off. Tatsumi looked at Bullock and was still fighting Lever, but doing a lot better than in canon, as Bullock has been training with Tatsumi, making him stronger and more agile in his movements when fighting opponents. Bullock would dodge each and every one of Lever's water dragons, while gradually moving closer to him. As another water dragon was about to attack him, Bullock realized he was much closer to Lever, as then he drew his spear with so much force that when Lever tried to dodge, his entire right arm all the way from his shoulder was cut off, as that was also where his Imperial Arms was, which was a ring he used to manipulate water. Lever jumped back, trying to create distance, but Bullock immediately closed the distance by charging at him with full speed and punched Lever in the face, sending him flying back, breaking his jaw and skull, and knocking his teeth out. As now Lever was lying on the floor, not being able to move. Tatsumi and Bullock then walked towards him, seeing him lying on the ground, barely conscious, and started to ask him some questions, to which Lever responded that he wouldn't reveal any information of Esdet, and told Bullock that he joined her as because he had the utmost respect and admiration for her. Lever would eventually die due to the poison in his blood, as he was planning to use that to attack Bullock as his final trump card, but couldn't as he didn't have his Imperial Arms to manipulate his blood. The ship eventually arrived back on land, and all the guests would eventually wake up. Tatsumi and Bullock would go back to the base to tell the other members of Night Raid what happened on the ship, as they both collected General Lever's and the boy's Imperial Arms, as they would both be confiscated by the Revolutionary Army. A day would go by, and Najina was walking to the training area to see both Tatsumi, Bullock, and surprisingly Lubbock doing push-ups with both Mine and Shell sitting on Tatsumi's back, Leone and Akame sitting on Bullock's back, and Lubbock having a bunch of rocks on his back. The reason why Bullock was training was that after he heard that what had happened recently, he wanted to get stronger. And so far Bullock has done 182 push-ups, Bullock 298 push-ups, and Tatsumi 312 push-ups. Naja then told everyone she was leaving to recruit more allies and that Akame was in charge of the base. Their training session would eventually end and Tatsumi would go about his day, just doing what he regularly does almost every day. A couple of days later, Esdet was formed a new police force called the Jaegers to control anyone against the capital. Tatsumi would one day also visit one of Night Raid's secret bases that was underneath a library, where he met both Leone and Lubbock as they were all discussing plans on how to get information on Esdet and the Jaegers. With little to nothing they could do, they decided to leave this talk for later. Tatsumi, remembering his village, decided he wanted to send some money over there and heard that Esdet was sponsoring a fighting tournament with some prize money and decided to enter as he wanted to get money. His money was still money after all. Tatsumi would enter the tournament, and as Tatsumi entered the tournament as Tatsumi with the occupation as a blacksmith, as he technically was a blacksmith in his previous life. Tatsumi would actually defeat all his opponents with absolute ease, as he would be too fast for them. He would then make his way to the finals, where he would meet his opponent, a large muscular man with for some reason the head of a bull. The man would then ridicule Tatsumi and continuously brag about how strong he was. Tatsumi, being annoyed by this, would actually want to humiliate the guy by looking down on him. The fight would begin and the man would barrage Tatsumi with punches, but Tatsumi would dodge all of them, just smirking at, as this would make the man even more angry. "Come on, is this all you got?" Tatsumi said mockingly as the man was still trying to hit him. Tatsumi would end the fight by jumping up, kicking the man in the face so hard that he would knock the man several feet away, as the man would be laying on the ground completely passed out, and Tatsumi was declared the winner of the tournament. The crowd would then cheer after seeing the fight, chanting Tatsumi's name. "Wow, it feels amazing to have people cheer for me," Tatsumi said with a smile. Esdet was watching the whole thing and would immediately take a liking to Tatsumi, as she thinks Tatsumi would be her lover. Esdet would then make her way to the arena, and Tatsumi would walk towards her. "So this is Esdet, the person we also have to take down," Tatsumi thought to himself. Esdet would congratulate Tatsumi. He would be expecting money to be placed on his hands, but was met with a chain collar around his neck. "From now on, you're mine," Esdet said. Tatsumi was shocked by this, that he let his guard down and got chopped in the neck, making him pass out, to soon be dragged out of the arena. Leone and Lubbock were watching this and immediately went back to the base to inform the others. Kami told everyone to keep an eye on them and not to get caught, as they weren't sure if Esdet knew if Tatsumi was a member of Night Raid. Tatsumi would eventually wake up inside the Jaeger's headquarters, sitting on a chair chained up, being surrounded by all the Jaeger members. However, he didn't sense any any malice or malicious from them. Esdet then told Tatsumi that the reason he was here was because he was worthy of being Esdet's lover. Tatsumi was a little surprised by this, but began to relax, knowing they weren't after his head. "You know, you could have just asked me to come with you, instead of chaining me up," Tatsumi jokingly said. Well, with all the rumors of me, I had to make sure you wouldn't escape," Esdet responded. Tatsumi was then released from chains and introduced to all the members of the Jaegers. Esdet would then take Tatsumi to watch the Jaegers defeat a group of bandits, with both Tatsumi and Esdet watching from a distance. Both of them were talking to each other, and Tatsumi would realize that Esdet wasn't a killing psychopath like rumors say. Sure, she was the key factor for most of the deaths of the capital's enemies, but Esdet was just a person who genuinely liked the challenge and taking down strong enemies, which is why she joined the capital's military, and with that mindset and her strength, she quickly rose up the ranks and became one of the most feared individuals in the country. With this information, he thought he can get Esdet to join his side, but later realized that would soon be harder than he thought, as Esdet was a very loyal person to the capital. Esdet would continue to talk with Tatsumi, holding his hand, as her liking for him grew even further. Once the Jaegers finished taking out the bandits, they all went back to the base. Tatsumi was in Esdet's room, sitting on her bed once he finished taking a shower, thinking to himself that he didn't want to kill Esdet or any of the Jaegers, well maybe except for Seiryu, as they all seemed like decent people, just doing their job, as most of them knew that the capital was corrupt but couldn't really do anything about it. As Tatsumi was still thinking about this, Esdet came out of the shower in nothing but her shirt. "Sorry I'm late, Tatsumi," Esdet said. "So what are you planning?" Tatsumi said while smirking, which Esdet then responded by kissing him. "I was thinking we can do some quote-unquote stamina training, although I'm not very experienced with it," Esdet said, still smiling at Tatsumi. "I can help you with that," as Tatsumi then responded to Esdet, as they were then to proceed to do some stamina training, almost all nights. It was then intense that would both end up sweating, huffing and puffing for air until they finally fell asleep until the next morning. Tatsumi would wake up not seeing Esdet. He then took a shower, got dressed, and made his way towards the main dining hall. Man, how long has it been since I've done stamina training? And wow, Esdet was a lot better than I thought, Tatsumi thought to himself. Tatsumi would arrive at the main dining hallway to see both Wave and crewmate. He would talk with Wave until a minute later Esdet would come, seeming more positive than usual. She would assign both Tatsumi and Wave to go to the mountains to take out some danger beasts. Good, I can use this opportunity to escape, Tatsumi thought to himself. Both of them did what they were told and left after having some breakfast. They arrived near the mountains and went up ahead looking for the location of the danger beast. As both of them were walking and talking, Tatsumi noticed a tree-like monster about to attack Wave, but quickly killed it with his longsword that he got from the Jaeger's base, as he didn't want to show Wave that he could project weapons. They were both surrounded by monsters and began to kill them off. Tatsumi used reinforcement magic to increase his speed. When Wave wasn't looking, he immediately hid his presence and ran off as fast as he could. Eventually, Tatsumi would make his way to a forest where he would meet Akame there, as she would tell him that all the members were actually keeping an eye on him, trying to figure out ways to get him back. Tatsumi and Akame would head back to the base. When they arrived, all the members were relieved, and Tatsumi told them why he was kidnapped, and gave the names of the Jaeger members, which involved Akame's sister, Kurame, which made Akame tense up a little bit. When Mine heard why Tatsumi was taken by Esdet, she noticed that Tatsumi had a little bruise mark at the lower side of his neck. "Wait, Tatsumi, did you and Esdet? That's not important," Tatsumi interrupted Mine. Members of Night Raid were skeptical of that, but decided to leave their talk, and all went on with their day. When Tatsumi went to hang out with Mine and Shell, he noticed them seeming less talkative and kind of distant. Tatsumi was a bit concerned and thought they were both having a bad day. It was 5 p.m. in the evening, and Tatsumi would be in his room projecting different kinds of armor, adding different effects to each of them, as he would hear a knock on the door, and both Mine and Shell would enter the room. "Hey guys, what's up?" Tatsumi said. Both the girls didn't respond for a couple of seconds, looking shy for some reason until Shell finally spoke. "Tatsumi, we have something to tell you. You see, we both like you, and we decided to both share you, if that's alright," said while both of them were blushing, with Mine looking to the side, not trying to make eye contact. Tatsumi was a little surprised by this, but then walked to them and proceeded to kiss both of them on the forehead. "I don't mind that," Tatsumi said with a smile, as they all proceeded to do some intense stamina training until it was the middle of the night, with both Tatsumi and Shell and Mine all sleeping together on Tatsumi's bed. As a couple of minutes would pass, and Tatsumi would then hear a scream, and flesh being cut by a sword. In a panic, he woke up both Shell and Mine, and Tatsumi went out in his shirt and boxers to see intruders had made their way inside the base, and all the members of Night Raid were to take care of them. Tatsumi would kill the intruders that were coming towards him with both Kancho and Bakuya, and both Mine and Shell would eventually wake up and got their weapons and killed more intruders that were inside. Considering currently all the members of Night Raid were alive, They were doing a lot better than in canon. They eventually made all their way out. They made their way outside and to regroup, as once they were all surrounded by hundreds of enemies. It was then revealed that one of the Jaegers, Dr. Stylish, was the one who planned all of this. Tatsumi wasn't surprised to see Tatsumi there, as he had a feeling Tatsumi wasn't part of the Empire. Tatsumi knew these were Dr. Stylish men, and he wasn't one of the good people of the Empire And Tatsumi wanting to impress his team members, he was going to perform the unlimited blade works. "Hey guys, I know how we can take care of these enemies quickly," Tatsumi said as he lifted his arm, and suddenly a dark blue mist and neon green lightning covered around him. "I am the bone of my sword, steel my body, and fire my blood. I have created over 1,000 blades. So I pray. Unlimited blade works," Tatsumi said, as the neon green light dispersed in a flash of light. But instead of seeing a world with unlimited weapons placed on the ground, nothing would happen, as neither he nor Night Raid or the enemies were in his reality marble. Tatsumi was left shocked as he wondered what happened, and the intruders would then start laughing when one of them saying, "Was that supposed to be some kind of bluff?" As then the hundreds of invaders would soon charge at all the members of Night Raid. Before Night Raid could make contact, a figure fell down from the sky, crushing one of the invaders. This was Susanoo, and he was one of the allies Najida brought. All the members of Night Raid would make quick work of Dr. Stylish's men, killing all of them. Dr. Stylish watched this from a distance and would immediately retreat, but Tatsumi would already be on top of the base's rock. Would see Dr. Stylish running about 2.8 kilometers away, from which Tatsumi decided to send 3 broken noble phantasms his way at hypersonic speeds, blowing both him up and his lackeys beside him, leaving nothing but a huge crater on the ground, because now Dr. Stylish was dead. All the members regrouped, and Najida introduced the 2 new recruits as Chelsea and Susanoo. They would then all leave to go to another secluded area in a forest near Rocky Mountains to build a new base. Once they got there and finished building the base, the other members of Night Raid got to know both Chelsea and Susanoo, as they all got along with each other. Well, except for mine, she didn't really like Chelsea, as Chelsea would always tease her with mostly trivial things. A couple of days later would go by, and Tatsumi would spend most of those days training with Block, Kakame, Susane, and Leone by hunting danger beasts in the area, and Tatsumi wouldn't also have to do the cooking or chores, as Susanoo would be the one to do that. Tatsumi would also try to figure out why his unlimited blade works wouldn't work by experimenting new ways to activate it, but to no avail. He would also spend those days doing stamina training with both Mine and Shell. As once those days were over, Night Raid would get word that a new species of danger beasts have appeared around in the Empire, as these were the results of Dr. Stylish experiments. Tatsumi and Lubbock were then assigned to go to the secluded mountain area, where they were said to be the new species of danger beasts. Tatsumi and Lubbock then left as they were walking up a mountain. Tatsumi and Lubbock would talk, and Lubbock would then explain the reason why he joined Night Raid was that he fell in love with Najida, and that she'll probably never see him the same way, but he still loves her. Tatsumi then responded with that maybe he shouldn't peep on other women, to which then they would both argue. "Well, love, I think the best way to get her to love you back is to show her your best qualities. And once you do, find a place where you can be alone with her and confess to how you feel. I'm rooting for you, man," Tatsumi said while holding a fist towards Lubbock, to which he responded with a thanks and a fist bump. As they then continued to walk, they decided to split up to cover more ground, as Tatsumi was looking around the area to find a danger beast. Noticing a figure jump down from behind him, creating a crater in the ground, as when Tatsumi looked back, it was none other than Esdet, and when Esdet met his eyes, she slightly blushed to see the face of Tatsumi. And that's where I'm going to leave the video off, guys. Hope you enjoy it, and see you later. Bye.